Hi everyone, welcome to Monday Vinyasa Flow Yoga. We are going to do a class that's kind of for gardeners, but could be for everybody tonight. We're just going to do some specific stretches and strengthening exercises to help with those gardening muscles. So if you've been in the garden, say over the weekend, or you're about to do some gardening next couple of weeks here, then some of these moves will probably be helpful for you, just so you don't get injured, and it's just injury prevention. But if you do already have an injury from overdoing it already, some of these exercises might also feel good to stretch out some of those muscles as well. So we're going to get to it. We don't need any equipment tonight. You just need your mat and a water bottle if you want, and a bolster if you're used to having a bolster, or some blocks if you're used to having some blocks. Let's get started on the mat. We're going to start laying down. So just come onto your mat, and we're going to start just with the knees bent and the feet onto the floor. Take your arms out to a T position, heads resting, and drop the knees from left to right. So we're just starting in the windshield wipers. We usually always end in these. We're just gonna get warmed up through the hips through here, and we're gonna work on a little bit of core exercises. Strengthening the core is pretty important to protect your low back when you are lifting heavy objects or digging or doing whatever, actually anything you do in your daily life. You need those core muscles to be recruited so that you do not overcompensate and create strain on your back or your hips. So what we're going to do here is just slow that down. Take the right knee in and just squeeze it in. So if this feels pretty easy for you, then just straighten out that left leg and keep squeezing in. If you feel like your low back is lifting off the floor, then you need to bend into your right leg there. So you're squeezing your right into your left leg. So you're squeezing your right knee in, and then we're just going to switch. So the right leg comes down onto the floor, and the left leg, left knee bends, and you're pulling it in towards you. Okay, go ahead and switch again. And just breathing normally here, inhales and exhales. Think about the low back pulling down to the mat. Switch again. Breathing deep. All right, and then bring both knees in and give yourself a hug. Head into the knees. And relax your feet back onto the floor with the knees bent. Reach your arms overhead this time, and then do the windshield wipers again. So back and forth, side to side, left to right. Breathing deep. All right, and then bring the arms back open to a T position. The knees lift up and the feet lift up, so knees are above your hips here. And we're gonna go going from left to right here in windshield wipers, but we're gonna scissor the legs. So we're gonna go to the left side, and then the right leg and then the left leg are going to straighten out. You don't have to go all the way down to the floor, but we're just going to twist, and then you're straightening your left leg and your right leg. As you go over to your full range of motion, then you just straighten left leg and right leg, bring it back to center, straighten. I'm running out of space here for a while. Go over to the other side, straighten. Okay, and then if that feels okay, then you're just picking up the pace here. And again, we're just kind of creating a little bit more mobility in the hips at this point. Just doing a little bit of warming up right away. Back and forth. And again, you don't have to go all the way close to the floor if you don't want to. You don't have to straighten both the left leg and right leg out. If you're only doing it halfway, that's fine too. Go one more on each side. All right, and then back to center. Okay, and then we're going to go into dead bug for a little bit of core work here. So first we're going to lift those feet up off the floor again so the knees are above your hips. And then we're going to lift the head and reach the arms. So shoulders are off the floor, and you just want to feel that activation here. So you should feel that in the upper abdominal area. Okay, and then release your head back onto the floor and your arms onto the floor. Knees stay above your hips. So the dead bug is you're going to straighten your right leg out, and then bring your left hand onto your left knee, and your right arm is reaching and your head is lifting. So that's the first position, and then you just switch to the next position. So side to side, alternating. And once your hand hits your knee, so the knee that comes in, that's the hand that's pressing into your knee. You want to push into your knee, and the knee presses back into your hand. Okay, you can do this with the head onto the floor. You're not going to activate the upper abdominals as much, but if you need a rest in your neck, then you can do that. So just, again, going back and forth. You can slow it down if you want to. And we're just going to do 2 more on each side. Warming up the core. Should feel something fired up there, and then releasing. Okay, bring the knees in towards the chest, but keep your feet head onto the floor and just rock side to side, massaging that low back out. Breathe deep. Okay, now circling around. So you just kind of switch your hands on top of your knees and just do little circles, massaging that low back into the floor. Go one direction and then switch, go the other direction. And you're just trying to keep stable as best as you can. Shoulders onto the floor, your upper body is as stable as possible, just to isolate that lower half of you. Okay, so now we're going to come up to seated. So you can either roll like a ball, you grab onto your knees and create some momentum to rock up, or you just come over onto your side and then spin around. So from here, we're going to in 90-90 position. Your right shin is forward, and you bend your left knee back. Okay, so we're just going to reach forward over your right shin, and then reach to the right, go to the center, and then reach to the left. And then you can just sort of walk your hands, breathing, bring your attention back to your breath. Okay, and then come to center and just hold that, deep breaths in and out. And then releasing. Okay, coming up, but then start to lean a little bit more forward. We're going to work on this outer hip here on that left side. So it's a little bit of a tricky move here because it's activating some hip muscles that may have been inactive for a while. So what we're going to do is try and lift this leg. So the knee is bent back behind you. We're going to lift it off the ground and then drop it. Lift it off the ground and then drop it. So there's a tendency to want to go down and do it because it's easier that way, but try to at least lean forward. You can lean over to the right side and keep doing it, but not way over to the other side. You may not be able to lift up so much, but that's okay. So leaning a little bit forward, lifting and dropping, lifting and dropping. One more time, lift and then drop. Okay, we're going to switch so you can kind of spin around the legs and bring that right knee, bend it back, and then the left shin is front. So flexing your left foot there, and then we're going to, again, just kind of move around from side to side. You can go to the left side, and then you walk to center, and then you walk to the right side. And we're just kind of hunting around to feel, to just see where there's tension, and just sort of stretching it out. Lungs are open, and just breathing deep. And then come back to center, and then you're just holding and you're folding as far as you feel comfortable. Dropping the head down, you're breathing into your back. You're trying to pull the hips back as well You can press a little bit into the floor to keep that long spine behind you. I'm just going to switch so you can see what it looks like on the other side. So just reaching forward. All right, and then walking back up. And now we're going to work on that right leg. So lifting the right leg up. So we need to lean a little bit to the left, but reach, try to lean forward as you're doing this. Not too far forward, just enough space so that you can get a little bit of lift in that knee at least. So if you can't lift the foot up off the floor, just try to lift that right knee up and then drop it down. Okay, ideally the foot and the knee lift off the ground and then drop back down. And resist the urge to go way over here and do this. Try to stay upright and down. So you may feel like there's some cramping going on. That's perfectly normal too. Again, you're just trying to get some outer hip activation here. Stabilize your muscles, and really important for your balance and core. So we're going to do one more lift and release down. Okay, switch the legs around again so that you're just in Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet are together and your knees open wide. Grab underneath your feet, and we're just going to pull the knees up to the elbows. So pull them in and just hold that. And then drop them down, and just with your own muscles, you're not pressing with your arms or anything, you're just trying to pull the outer knees there down to the floor. So you're opening the knees as wide as you can. And then again, pull up, keep pulling up. So using abductors and adductors, and then press down as hard as you can. Lifting forward, not trying to lean forward or anything. We're just trying to get a lifted posture. We're just working on those inner thighs here. So lifting up again, holding onto the feet just to keep stable in your sit bones, and then drop down. And again, just with just the own muscles in your legs, you're just trying to pull the knees down and wide. One more breath, and then release from there. Okay. So coming forward, or just spin around so that you're on your hands and knees into tabletop position. Okay, so moving around in a circle motion. Pick one direction, go a few times, and then switch the direction. So sides of the hip, think about drawing a circle with your belly button on the floor. And then just as you're getting a little bit more comfortable with the motion, just starting to bend into your elbows, just letting go of your head, trying not to hold it up, and breathing deep. All right, and then back to center. So we're going to tuck the toes under and then come back like you're going into child's pose. So just pull right back, stretching through the soles of the feet here. So the fascia, toes are tucked under, reaching up through your heels, and then come up to tabletop pose. And then again, push back, so you're trying to pull your bum towards your heels, pushing up to the soles of the feet. And the toes are kind of, they're forced to be flexed, right, and stretched out, and then come forward, releasing that. And then come back and sit on the heels. Now, so you can sit back as much as you want. You can even add a little bit of a lean back and just kind of place your hands on to the tops of your thighs, and you're going to stretch some quadriceps here for if you're leaning a little bit forward back. What we're going to do is going from there, plant the hands down, and then lift the bum and pull the bum back. So you're in down dog, drop the head down, and then drop the knees, and then come back into that kind of reclined, almost like you're coming into camel pose. Plant the hands down to the floor, and then up. Okay, so just getting the hamstrings and quadriceps activated here, and ankles. Ankle mobility is really important as well when we're doing some gardening, a lot of kneeling. it happens, and a lot of squatting. So if you feel like squatting is a pain in the butt, it could be because of limited ankle mobility as well. So you just want to check that if this is really challenging for you, and you feel that in your feet more than anything, then maybe practicing this a few times, just getting the feet and ankles kind of warmed up, may be really helpful before you go out and work. So just a couple more times, back, forth, breathing deep, and then last one, coming back, bringing it forward, lift the bum. Okay, and then we'll stay in that down dog, and then you can kind of walk it out into a longer down dog if that's what you're used to as well. And just spreading the fingers wide, walking the feet out, bending into the right knee, bending into the left knee. All right, and then look forward at the hands there, and then step up to them. So at the top of the mat, and then you're just folding forward. All right, so coming back to center, let's come up all the way standing, reach arms above your head, inhale, and then exhale. Inhale, lift the arms up, inhale, exhale, hands to the heart, clasp your fingers, press down, inhale, lift the arms, exhale, release the hands back behind you, clasp, pull back, look up, exhale, bow forward, inhale, rise up, arms release. Exhale, so focus on the movement with the breath. Inhale, lift, exhale, release. Inhale, look up, exhale, bow forward. Inhale, rise up, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, draw those shoulder blades back, keep them pulling back as you're bowing forward here. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, inhale, exhale. Inhale, pull back, exhale, bow forward and hold, forward fold. Breathe, keep those shoulder blades squeezing back, arms lifting. All right, come on up all the way, reaching up with both arms, inhale. Drop your right arm down to your right side and stretching side bend. Then looking over to the left. And then over to the other side. So left arm down by the side and side bending. Try to keep your upper body from twisting here. Try to keep your chest pointing straight forward. Belly button pointing straight forward here. Just getting that side, and then reaching up with both arms. Inhale, exhale, open up the arms and bring it down, forward fold. Breathing deep. Rock forward into your toes a little bit. Just holding that stretch. A little bit into your toes so there's just a little bit of lift in your heels. And then bring your weight back into your heels and lift your toes just a little bit. Bring your weight back into your toes, a little bit of lift into your heels. There, we don't have to be totally forward fold. You can grab onto your shins to do this as well. And then back into your heels. Lifting your toes if you can, spread them wide. And then place your toes back onto the floor, bend into your knees and rise back up. Reach up, inhale, and then exhale. Step to the top of the mat. Reach up with both arms, inhale, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, forward fold, and step your right foot back. Drop your right knee down to the floor. Reach up with both arms, clasp your fingers at the top, and then start making some circles in the air while we're in this crescent lunge. Go one direction, then go the other direction. If it feels too awkward, you can bend into the elbows and you can bring it to here, okay? Otherwise, reaching up. Okay, you may feel some cracks or pops or hear some cracks or pops. Maybe that's from me. Okay, and then releasing that. So once you've gone both directions, then release your hands. Spread your fingers really wide. So really stretch out those fingers. Okay, one more breath. Inhale, and then exhale. Plant the hands to the floor. Step back into plank pose and lower through chaturanga. Lift into up dog or cobra, and then come back into downward facing dog. So set the right foot forward, left knee down to the floor, and arms are going to reach up. Okay, this time reach your arms forward, and I'm just going to face this way. Fingers pointing down, thumb is out to the side here, and you're just stretching that right wrist, pushing through the heel of your palm. Our thumb is out to the side, you're just pulling that left hand towards you. Stretch out, and then switch sides. Thumb is out to the side or on the outside here, pushing your wrist forward, pushing your heel forward of your palm, and pulling those fingers back towards you. All right, and then releasing. Again, reach up with both arms, spread your fingers really wide. Bring your hands onto the floor. Step back into plank pose, lower through chaturanga. Bring it into up dog or cobra, and then come back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet out. Step your feet forward. Bring them a little bit wider, feet hip distance or shoulder, or a little bit wider than shoulder distance or hip distance apart. Bring your hands onto your hips, a little bit knees are bent, and then come up all the way, and then we're going to do some hip circles. So bending into the knees, going one direction, go just one direction first here, and then we'll switch. So, and just spiraling around, getting those hips out, knees are bending. You're kind of coming down into a squat, sticking your bum back, and as you're standing up, you're kind of tucking the pelvis under, pressing your hips forward. Okay, switch direction. So coming back into that squat, standing, push your hips forward, squatting, press. So coming a little bit, just basically going into flexion and extension. Okay. One more time. All right, and then come back up, and then reach up both arms. Inhale, and then exhale. Bring the hands behind you, clasp your fingers. Again, your feet are hip distance or a little bit wider. Pull the shoulder blades back and keep lifting your heart. Pull the arms back as best as you can, so you're really squeezing the shoulder blades together. Bow forward just halfway. So just halfway, we're trying to lift your head forward, lift your chest forward, pull the shoulders back, and then go all the way down. Draw your head over to your left knee, and then draw your head over to your right knee. And then come back to center, bend your knees, come up all the way, pull with those arms, reach the arms up to the sky, inhale, and then exhale, stepping to the top of the mat. Sweep arms up overhead, inhale, exhale, swan dive, bring it down. Halfway lift, inhale, exhale, hands to the floor, step left foot back, left knee down to the floor. Reach up with both arms for your crescent lunge. Okay, we're going to twist to the right side, so the left arm is going to go forward, your right arm is going to reach back, and you're just reaching through your arms, twisting. Okay, and then coming out of that twist, reach up with both arms, inhale, exhale, hands to the floor, step back into plank pose, lower through chaturanga, up dog cobra, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward, right knee down, arms up, breathing, twisting to the left side, so right arm forward, left arm back, reaching through the arms, breathing, try to lift up tall in your posture, close it in, reaching up both arms, inhale, exhale, hands to the floor, step back again to plank pose, lower through chaturanga. Bring it into up dog or cobra, and then bring the chest onto the floor. All right, so we're going to reach the arms forward, palms hovering above the floor. My toes are going to be on the floor, so we're trying to get extension of the upper back here, so reach forward, and then bring your arms out to a T, and then bring your backs of the hands onto your low back. Bring your arms out to a T again, and reach your arms forward. Out to a T, bend your elbows, bring the backs of the hands onto the back, low back. Keep moving, and then reaching out to a T, reach forward, out to a T, bend your elbows, reaching out to a T, reach forward one more time, out to a T, and then bend your elbows back onto your low back, and then reach all the way forward, and then retract the elbows back so hands are underneath your shoulders, and press up. Walk your knees in, drop your forearms to the ground. So we're going to just move around a circle motion around in those shoulders. Okay, so we're going to work on a little bit more shoulder mobility here. So coming up to tabletop position, so straight arms here. And we're just going to do some scapular lifts here. So you're going to, so you want to think of, you have wings on your back, those are your shoulder blades. Think of pulling or pointing them up. So you're not bending your elbows, you're just sinking your chest down and then pushing down into your hands so that you're rounding your spine. So it can be very subtle here. So we're just doing those scapular retractions. So flex it and then retract, pushing. And again, elbows aren't bending here, so you're not doing a push-up or anything. So it's, again, just drop your chest and then pull the chest up. Drop your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades, and then that, okay? Now we're going to add a little bit of flow just so that you can feel it here, just in case you're not used to doing that movement. And we're gonna add a little bit of down dog to that too. So we're on the hands and knees, and we're going to retract the shoulder blades back, push up, tuck toes under, go to down dog, drop knees, toes tucked under, and then retract, pull the shoulders, and then push down, pull the bum back, so you're in down dog. Forward, drop the knees, retract, press, and back into down dog. One more time, come forward, drop the knees, and squeeze your shoulder blades, and then push down into your hands, and then come back into your downward facing dog. Walk it out or just sway the hips. All right, come forward and down again. So next one is going to be a plank position. So we're gonna add a little bit of core, but I'll show you a modification if you want to as well. So we're in the plank position from your toes. We're going to take that left arm out to the, we're going to row up first, and then we're going to take it out to the side, wing out, and then we're going to do the same thing where we're going to put the back of the hand onto the low back, and then we're going to release, and then bring it onto the floor, and then switch sides. So I'm just going to turn around so that you can see the other side here. Row, reaching out, rotate. So I'm going to external rotation, and then come back down. Okay, if you need to drop the knees, this is what it looks like. So you're just doing that row, reach, back of the hand to the back, low back, and then down. Okay, row first, reach out, rotate, plant down. Okay, if you're fine here, then just keep moving along with your plank. Row, keep moving from side to side. Of course, if you're in that plank position, then you're going to really feel that in your core. So working on anti-rotational. So you're trying to not rotate the body, and that's going to force your core to work a lot harder, because chest facing down, hips are level, and of course you're going into one arm then the other side. Oops. Out, down. Okay, one more time. Row up, go out, rotate, and down. Okay, drop the knees if you have the knees up. Do some circling around. Breathe it out. Okay, so come back to center. Walk your hands forward, tuck toes under. Come up to downward facing dog. Walk the hands forward. Top of the mat. Sway it out. Shake out the wrists too. Always good, just kind of whenever you're mindful of it, just to kind of keep those some mobility happening in the wrists. Do some circles around, do some stretches. Okay, we're ready to come up all the way. Inhale and then exhale. So step to the top of the mat again, reaching up. Inhale, exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. So we're going to step back to plank pose, lower through chaturanga, lift into up dog or cobra, and then come back to down dog. We're going to lift the right leg up. So you can bend into the knee, or you can lift it however much off the ground you want to here. Just getting any kind of lift, and then step forward up to the hands. Drop that left heel onto the floor, and we'll come up into a warrior stance. So facing forward for warrior one. Okay, holding here. Reaching out for warrior two position. And knee over ankle. Make sure you can see your right big toe in front of you when you look down. Back leg is really active here. So pushing out through the outer edge of the left foot. Come back into reverse warrior. Drop that back arm. Breathing deep. All right, so coming into extended side angle. So coming down. So you can drop your forearm onto your thigh or reach down to the floor, and your left arm is going to reach up. So you can go into that bind, even that half bind. Again, working on that external shoulder rotation here. If you feel like you're always hunched forward and your shoulder, just kind of practicing taking your hand behind your back and lifting that shoulder and pulling it down and back. That can be really beneficial for you. If you are used to going in the bind, then you're taking your hand underneath your leg and you're holding that bind as well, and just holding wherever you're at right now. So take a deep breath in and deep breath out. We're going to release both hands on the inside part of that right foot. Spin that heel up, your back heel up, so you're in a high lizard lunge position. You can walk your right foot out to the right. So we're just holding here. All right, and then we're going to rotate, open. That right arm is going to reach. One more breath. All right, and then bring that right hand down to the floor. Now we're going to take that right leg back and up to the air, and then we're going to come forward and go into a variation of wild thing. We're taking that right leg over top of the left leg, spinning around so that your thighs are together and you're on that left arm here. We're going to reach up with that right arm and then reach it over to the left. So look down at your left arm and just kind of let that right arm hang over your chest while you're pressing your hip bones up, while you're squeezing your glutes. Try to look down at your arm, keep pressing into your feet. Squeeze your glutes. All right, so from here, we're just gonna rotate out. So your shoulders are already rotated. You just need to flip your hips around and straighten your legs so that you're back into the plank position. Come down through chaturanga, to up dog or cobra, downward facing dog. Breathe it out. Let's go to the other side. Left leg lifts up. So again, you can bend into the knee if you're used to it, or your leg is just straight. Step forward, up to the hands, drop your right heel to the ground, and then come on up for warrior one on this side. Facing forward, right leg activated here, and breathing. Come out to warrior two pose, reaching with the arms. Left arm forward, right arm back. Dropping the tailbone down, try to stretch the arms out, but relaxing the shoulders down. Tip back and reverse warrior. Left arms reaching. All right, extended side angle coming down. Left hand comes either onto your shelf or down to the floor. That right arm's reaching up to the ceiling, and you're either doing that half bind, so back of hand onto low back, holding that position, kind of pushing your low back into the back of your hand as well, or doing that full bind, working on still getting that openness in that top shoulder, pulling up as best as you can, keeping the both legs activated, pushing back through your right leg, drawing navel to spine. All right, so we're going to release, bring the hands on the inside part of the left foot and just kind of walk it out so you have some space. The left foot's out to the left edge of the mat, hands are into the center, and you're in a lizard lunge, a high lizard lunge. Your right leg is activated. You're reaching through the right heel. Your kneecap is lifted, and your quadriceps are engaged, and your right glute is engaged in this position. So it's an activated lunge position, holding, breathing. All right, releasing and into that three-legged down dog. So shift the weight into your hands, take the left leg back, you can shoot it back, and then coming into our wild thing or rock star variations, we're taking that left leg over top of the right leg. So basically you're in the reverse tabletop, but you're on your right arm. So we're going to lift the hips up, and then this left arm is going to drop down over to the right arm. So it's just kind of dropping and draping across my chest, and I'm trying to press my hips up, and I'm trying to keep them square. So pushing my feet down into the floor and squeezing my glutes, but rotating through the shoulder and breathing here. Just letting this arm hang, this left arm. Okay, and then returning. So shoulders are already rotated, so we're going to flip the hips around, and then we're back into the plank position. Lower through chaturanga, lift into up dog or cobra, and take a rest in child's pose. So bring the knees down to the ground, settle back. Hands could reach forward, or arms are going to reach alongside the body here. Deep breaths in and out through the nose. All right, so on your next inhale, we're going to lift back up and come up to the tabletop position, all the way to downward facing dog. We're going to start some more balancing here. So pedaling it out. Reach your right leg up, deep breath in. Step forward into runner's lunge, so that back heel is lifted, and then you're rising up with both arms here. So trying to Keep that front knee over the front ankle. Breathing deep. All right, so take the arms down alongside your body. Face the palms so they're facing the back of your mat. Lean forward here, engage your core. Shift the weight to your right leg and then lift that left leg off. So fallen tree, I'm just gonna come back into the picture here. And so more advanced, hook your thumbs behind your back and face down. I shouldn't look at the camera here. Facing chest down, head down. Try not to lean forward and just kind of bow into the stretch of your hamstring. Try to lift forward so that you're just flexing, folding at the hip here. And then releasing to just stand. Release your arms up. Deep breath in, then exhale, fold forward. Inhale halfway. Exhale, jump or step back, find plank. Chaturanga. Bring to up dog or cobra and then back to downward facing dog. Left leg lifts. Inhale and then exhale. Step forward into your high lunge position. So from runner's lunge to high lunge, reach arms up. All right, arms alongside the body, palms facing the back of the mat. Lean forward, engage your core, and just try to keep a straight body line as you lift. And try to straighten your right leg out behind you. So think about reaching those fingers to the back of the mat. Maybe hook the thumbs behind your back. Just kind of, you're activating those upper back muscles. You're activating triceps here. Keep lifting, hamstrings, glutes, and then stepping forward. Reaching up, both arms, inhale. Exhale, bring it down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, hands to the floor, step both feet back into plank. Chaturanga. Into up dog. Bring it into down dog. Walk it out. Next one, right leg lifts. Bend in the knee if you want to. Step forward into that runner's lunge, high lunge position, reaching arms up. Okay, so we're just going to add on a bunch of balancing acts from here. Coming forward and bringing the hands, fingertips to the floor or a block. Okay, we're going to shift the weight forward so that we kick up with that left leg and holding there. Standing split position, dropping head down. All right, coming up to halfway lifting here and walk your hands forward, opening up for half moon. The left arm, left hand comes onto your hip or reaching up with that arm. Maybe go ahead, look up at the ceiling here. Close it down. Feel that left hip drop down. Try to stay on this right leg and then bring the weight onto it as you come up and then lift that left knee up. Try to keep holding as fast as you can. Now tailbone dropping down. If you need to just take a break from there to here, that's fine as well. Holding, pulling that knee up and then moving into a twist. So knee up with a twist. Holding onto that left knee with your right hand and bring your left hand onto your hip, rotating through the upper body. So rib cage, shoulders, and then maybe head looking back. Left arm's reaching back behind you. And releasing out, coming back. Flying it out. Try to stick with it here. Fly it out. And go ahead and step back into lunge. Drop your left knee to the floor and then straighten out through the right leg so that you're in a monkey split position. So the toes will lift up in on your right foot there. Flex your toes back, either by just flexing them, or grab onto your toes and force flex with your fingers, pulling your toes back towards your shin. Bowing forward is optional. Again, you're just trying to feel, just kind of customize this position for yourself here. You're trying to target the hamstrings, your calves, ankle, fascia in your foot here, ankle, and if you want to get more into your low back, then you can lean forward, but try to focus on more the leg, if anything. So lifting up as best as you can, lifting forward into the stretch. And of course, flexing that foot is really key as well, especially if you're trying to get target those calf muscles. Okay, and then we're going to release. We're going to come forward, walk, walk, walk. We're going to open up again, so that left knee is going to be on the floor, the left hand is going to be on the floor, and then we're going to open up for twist from here, reaching up with that right arm. And then release the right hand down to the floor. Come back out, reach up with that right leg here, and then coming back into that rock star or wild thing position where the right leg goes over top. So this one, just bring it into maybe wild thing. You can bend into your right knee, your left leg is straight, and then you're just pushing in and squeezing your glutes to hike your hips up a little bit, and then your arm is just overhead. So you're kind of arcing your right side body, but you're also getting into a little bit of a rotation to the left as well. And then we're releasing out of that position to plank, chaturanga, up dog or cobra, and then downward facing dog, walking it up. Other side, left leg is going to lift up, inhale, exhale, step to the runner's lunge, high lunge, and arms are going to reach up. We're breathing deep here, so we're going to start in the standing split position. So grab onto your block or fingertips to floor, shift the weight forward, and lift that right leg. So you're just trying to keep it lifted. Again, just activating hamstrings and glutes on this side. You stretch in your hamstrings as well. And then going into the half moon position where you're reaching up with your right arm or hand to right hip. And you're trying to open. You're trying to open to the right side. Trying to get ground as best as you can, grounded with your left foot and left hand. And from your ground, you are reaching and trying to feel space around you and pull everything into your core at the same time. So you're trying to stabilize through your core. And then we're going to release. Hand to the floor, feel your right hip drop down so you're back in a neutral position with your hip. Shift the weight back into your left foot and try to balance your way up to standing and lift your right knee up. Okay, so with the right knee up, we're going to rotate to the right. The left hand is going to hold on to the right knee at the kneecap, and you're just pulling that knee in so that everything can be pulled in and balanced that way. So again, activating your core and then rotating. So from rib cage, shoulders rotate to the right, and maybe right arm reaching back here. And think of everything drawing into the core so that you can stabilize from there. And then release out, nice and slow. We're going to airplane. So arms out, and then hands down so that you can glide back into the lunge. Your right knee comes down, and then you go right into standing split or into monkey split. Half monkey split, lifting the toes up. And again, you can either hold onto your left toes, pull them back, or not. And just breathing here. So take some exhales out. This is kind of a resting pose after all of those balancing poses. And breathe out through the mouth. relax. Take another deep breath in and out. Okay, and then we're going to shift the weight forward so we're back into lunge. Right hand to the floor, and then the left arm is going to reach up, and you're rotating open, breathing here. All right, left hand back onto the floor, and we're going back into that wild thing, or you can do a rock star variation if you want to with the left leg. This time, left leg's going to kick up into the air, and then the left leg is going to go over top of the right leg, and you're going to rotate. So I'm just going to go into the wild thing myself. The right leg is straight, the left knee is bent, and I'm going to squeeze the glutes and push into my left foot so that my top hip can lift up. And it's like a side plank position, but your foot is helping you keep stable here. So that is your top leg that is keeping you stable. Another deep breath in, and then just releasing back. So let your arm pass across your face, and then you're back into the plank position. Lower through chaturanga. Take it into up dog or cobra, and then take a rest back into child's pose. With the knees wide again, sink back and down low. So come on up, toes tucked under, and then we're going to get into some squats, which are pretty important for your outside work as well. Even if you're just doing squatting all the time, it's always good to just practice anyways, just to keep up with it. Different ways to squat, and different ways to kind of move your upper body in a squat too. So my feet are wide, toes are kind of pointed out. Everyone's going to look different. Maybe your heels are off the floor, and that's fine too. Again, that's maybe an indication of just tight ankles, tight calf muscles, and that'll work itself out the more you squat or the more you work on stretching your ankles. And you can also do these. So we're just going to rock forward and back, and you're just going to shift the weight into your hands, and then push the weight back into your heel. Weight in your hands, rock up onto your toes, push the weight back. Weight up. So basically just kind of almost about to go into a crow pose and then come back. We might just do a crow pose just because there's a lot of crows kicking around, and it's kind of a sign that spring is well and on its way. And couple more times here. Okay, so back into the squat here, and then we're just going to do a little bit opening first. So the right arm is going to reach out to the side, and then the left arm is either reaching up or just bring your left hand onto your hip. So leaning, and with your left hand on your knee, and you can kind of push into your knee and just kind of lean and open up that hip in the side body, or you're reaching up with the arm and you're opening up side body on the left side. Going to the other side, the left hand's going to be down to the floor, and then your right arm is going to reach up. All right, and then bring it down. Okay, we're going to put the hands onto the floor, lean forwards, and lift the hips and just stretch the legs out for a moment here. Pull the weight back into the heels. Breathe it out. And then come back into your squat. Okay, let's do crow because we are here, and might as well. You can, at home, you can always stand on a block as well for this, and I might just demo with that here once we get into it. I'm just going to explain the hands though. Spreading the fingers really wide and think of your fingers as claws, right? So you need to shift the weight into your fingers to help stabilize yourself, just like any handstand you're going to do. You need to think of using all of your hand to balance all of your weight, just like your feet. Your toes take up a lot of your weight, and the balls and your heels. Okay, so spread your fingers as wide as possible and shift the weight forward and press into your fingertips until they go a little bit whitish, and then release that. Okay, press down, claw into the mat, and then release. Okay, and then when we're ready to go into it, we're going to lift up the hips. So lift up your bum and then try to get your knees way up onto the backs of the triceps, close to your armpits, and then shift the weight forward. Okay, so maybe you're just going to stay here. You're going to squeeze those knees, inner knees, into your triceps and push your triceps back into your inner knees. Maybe you shift forward enough, so you need to shift forward and look forward so that you can let the balance take hold. And then releasing, and then do it a couple more times. I'm just going to show you with the block, and it may just help a little bit standing up onto a block with your feet here. So a little perch, and then again, you're just going to set up just like you did before, but you're just getting up a little bit higher so that you can practice from there. And then you can practice lifting one foot and then the next foot. The next progression from crow two is bringing the feet together. So once you lift up, point the feet and bring your big toes touching and look forward, and really try to straighten out your arms. Okay, once you've had enough of that crow business, we're going to release the block. If you've had the block, bring the knees onto the floor and then sit back onto your heels. If this is too much for you, then you're up here and just kind of place your hands onto your low back or onto your hamstrings, okay? Otherwise, you're sitting back and going to recline hero's position, just shifting the weight back, stretching the fronts of the legs, opening the chest, breathing, and then coming forward. Now we will come up to camel position, so now you're up onto the knees in the tall position, reaching up with the arms to start here, and just thinking about the hips starting to press forward and squeezing the glutes forward. Now placing the hands anywhere, so the hands can come back and just rest on your low back if you just want an easier back bend tonight, and looking up and think about shoulders pulling down and back, or you're coming down to hamstrings, or you're reaching back onto your heels and pressing your hips forward from there. So squeezing your glutes forward to press your hips into extension is really important as well. Looking up, maybe tucking the chin in if your neck feels like there's any issues in there, then tuck your chin in. Breathing, pretty important. And then releasing from there. So lift forward into the chest and then come up. Bring your hands onto the floor. Walk your knees back and then drop your forearms down to the ground. Spin around, circle around. Round and around those shoulders. All right, so come on up, back into tabletop pose and down dog. Walk it up. All right, so on your next inhale, lift your right leg up. You bend into your knee. Bring your right foot forward. Step it forward, bring your left knee to the ground. Just take one deep breath as you reach up with your arms, and then bring your hands down, and then we'll take lizard lunge, getting into the hips a little bit more here. So hands on the inside part of the right foot. Walk your right foot up to the edge of the mat, and then here's where you'll stay, or you can shimmy your left knee back. You can tuck your toes under on your left foot, or you can untuck. So You can try both ways. You can also put a cushion underneath your knee if you feel like you have any knee pain on your left side there while you're in this lunge. Coming forward to intensify the position, dropping down to forearms if you want to as well. So, or propping yourself up even more. So use a block underneath your hands to lift up. Okay, so we're just going to stay here for a few breaths as we begin opening. Your right knee can also open up to the side. I'm just going to throw out a bunch of variations up there. Right knee can open up to the side, same with the sole of the foot. You can open up so that you're in a little bit of a rotation in your hip to open up that way. Okay, so breathing here, get long deep breaths in and out through the nose, through the mouth. Right, and then coming up, and then we're going to do another variation here. We're going to stretch out through the right leg, or through the left leg, the quadriceps rather. So we're going to start by bringing the right hand onto the right knee and just open up to the right. So holding that position. Okay, so the next position is bending into your left knee and bending so that you can catch the inside part of your left foot with your right hand. So if that's too much, then you can also come up against the wall. So I'll just kind of show you. So I have a wall behind me. I'm going to get quite close to the wall. Okay, so my foot is up against the wall here. Hopefully you can see. And then my knee is bent. So I'm just here, right hand is onto my leg. So I'm leaning a little bit to my left side, my right knee is opening that way, and my foot is propped up by the wall, stretching my right hip flexor, or sorry, my left hip flexor and my quadricep muscles here. So this is a pose where you can hold that, or again, you're just reaching back with your right hand and you're holding onto the inside part of your left foot, which is what I'm going to do. Still holding that position wherever you're at. Okay, and then releasing out, hand to the floor, and then that foot is released. And then we're going to gently lift that knee and then slide back gently to down dog. Walk it out. Come forward into plank pose, lower through chaturanga, and bring it into up dog or cobra. Take it back into downward facing dog. Let's do the other side, lifting the left leg up. Step forward, and then hold in that crescent lunge to start with, reaching up. Bring your hands down to the floor. Walk your left foot out to the left. Make some space. And then start getting into your lizard lunge position. So whether it be propped up or coming down, getting further, getting low to the ground to intensify, that is going to be up to you to create the best symmetry that you can for your own body. So breathing deep is key, especially if you are in, if you're challenging yourself, you're really stretching it, and that's fine too. You can stretch it as long as you are breathing and you're not holding your breath, and you're going to your own limit, but within reason, and holding and breathing. All take your time here. We're going to come up. Okay, and then so we're going to open up that knee a little bit. The left knee is going to open up to the side here, maybe the sole of the foot. So this is maybe where you're going to stay, and just finding a little bit of a rotation, a little bit of hip opening there. Almost like a pigeon position, but kind of like a half pigeon and a half lunge, and holding. You're opening the chest, and maybe you're pressing a little bit with your hand. So that's A, or B, you're bending into your right knee, and you're catching the top of the foot or inside part of the foot, reaching down to the heel, and you're holding that. Or like I said, on the other side, you're using a wall, or maybe there's a bench behind you, bed, whatever, couch side, and that could prop your foot up so that you're holding it like that, instead of trying to reach back and catch your foot. Strap also works great as well. And just breathing deep here. Trying to stay as lifted as you can in the pose, trying to collapse. Your right arm is pretty activated. It's taking up a lot of your weight, as well as kind of balancing over to the right. Okay, and then we're going to let go of the foot gently and bring the hand back onto the floor. Okay, gently lift up your right knee so that you can slide your left foot back and find down dog, walk it out. Okay, come forward, back into plank pose, lower through chaturanga, and then bring it into up dog or cobra, and bring it back onto the hands and knees, and then we're going to spin around back onto the seat. Okay, so we are going to go into Baddha Konasana again. Soles of the feet together, knees are wide. Grab onto the underneath edges of your feet. Lift forward, and then this time we're going to round the spine in Baddha Konasana. So go ahead and bend the elbows and draw the head towards your feet. So stretching the spine out, navel pulling to spine, elbows wide, or elbows pressing in the inside part of the shins. Breathing into the spine. And then releasing out of that. Okay, we are going to come right onto the back now. So you can roll like a ball, or come over onto your side and come down that way. If you're rolling like a ball, you're just kind of rolling back and forth, by the way. You can do that as many times as you like. I like to do 5 or 6 times. But that's up to you. And we're just going to end in, or just going to come into happy baby pose, where we'll all meet. In happy baby pose, grabbing onto your knees, shins, feet, and if you're grabbing onto your knees, then you can do circles around in your ankles like I'm doing. Just kind of freeing up the feet as well here. Rocking both left and right. And deep breaths in and deep breaths out here. Okay, so we're just kind of bringing it all down and together and shifting it to Shavasana eventually here. Okay, with the knees wide, we're going to do that circling motion again. So before the knees were together, and we're just kind of circling around, grabbing onto just the tops of the knees and the kneecaps, and you're just kind of guiding with your arms. You're pulling the knees away and drawing them up. And meanwhile, that low back is just kind of pressing down into the floor, switching directions. All right, and then coming back to center again. Now take the legs up against the imaginary wall and flex your feet as best as you can. So you may come down here, you may look like this because you can't go right above your hips to flex or just straighten out your legs. That's fine as well. Try wherever you can to flex your feet. So maybe you are at a different angle, that is fine. If you need to bend into your knees, that's fine as well. But again, just try to, without using your arms or anything, you just try to straighten your legs and flex your feet, almost like you're trying to just push or stand into the ceiling here. Okay, and then relax that flexion of your feet and point your toes, flex, point your toes, flex. All right, just arms come by the sides here, and then drop your right leg so that it's almost touching the floor, and just holding that. And just coming back to the core engagement like we did at the beginning of class, just doing a little bit more exercises, recreating core. So we're going to lift up that right leg and then drop the left. And then maybe your knees are bent. So maybe you look like this, that is fine as well. Of course, the lower that left leg is down to the floor, the harder it's going to be. So if your scissoring looks up a little bit higher, then that is fine too. So that's where you can hold the best, but you just want to go to where you are just holding on and you do feel like there's some firing up in your core muscles. Okay, lift your left leg, go to the right side again. Again, you do want your core to be fired up, but you don't want anything else kind of really compensating. If you feel like your hip flexors are doing way more than they should be and you don't feel any abdominal muscles working at all, then lift your legs up a little bit more. Okay, switch again. Now this is kind of slow and burning. That's fine. Squeeze, try to pull that low back into the floor. That's very important as well. All right, and then lift up and then bring it all in. Knees together and bring your head into your knees. Breathe out. Okay, so you're doing the side-to-side windshield wipers with the hovering legs this time. Arms are going to be out to the T, and so you're going to really try to press the shoulders and arms into the floor to balance this out. So the knees are going to be together. We're going to go over to the right side, but not touching the floor. So holding just above the floor, and then come back to center, and then go over to the other side, just above the floor, and then squeeze back to center. Go over to left side. Try to keep the shoulders onto the floor, pull back. Okay, more advanced. If this feels like it's really easy for you, then you are going over to, say, the left side, but you're straightening your legs, okay? And then you're coming back to center, and you keep your legs straight the whole time. Going over to the other side. But if your shoulder is like coming off the floor like that, that is an indication that your core may not be ready to progress to that stage. So keep your knees bent and just train as you go. Here, back and forth. It also requires some hip mobility, some mobility in the spine. So flexibility might inhibit you from straightening the legs as well. So you may have a super strong core, but just maybe a little bit inflexible. But this will help work it out. Okay, just keep moving. We're just going from side to side. Breathing deep. Keep the shoulders down. Okay, now come back to center now and bring your knees into your chest. Get another squeeze. Just holding and breathing. All right, and then feet onto the floor. All right, so next is the bridge pose. We're going to go into wide leg butterfly bridge first. So the feet are going to be together, knees are going to be out wide. Let's bring the arms alongside the body and go ahead and lift the hips from there. So pressing your feet, the soles of the feet together as you're lifting, you're squeezing your glutes. And you can lift your chin away from your chest here, create some space in your throat. And breathing. Try to roll right up onto the tops of the shoulders. Maybe as you get a little more comfortable, and where you're pressing down into, then you get a little bit higher in your bridge. So you just kind of find a little bit more range of motion through every breath a little bit. And you're kind of pressing your hips, your front body into extension here. So you're opening up. It takes a little bit of time sometimes, and some practice just to kind of get to feel what it's supposed to feel like. So we're going to release out of that, and then we're going to do the traditional bridge. So with the knees are going to be together and the soles of the feet onto the floor next. So go ahead, and when you are ready, you're lifting up. So feeling your feet press into the mat. Feel your heels, feel your toes. Think about your knees reaching forward. And again, think about your glutes here. If you want to, you can grip onto the edges of your mat just to add a little bit more traction to lift your hips up. Or you're interlacing your fingers underneath your back, and then you're rocking from side to side just to kind of pin the backs of your arms down to squeeze your shoulder blades back together so that you're lifting a little bit more into extension here. And holding and just breathing as best as you can. All right, and then slowly releasing your hands if they're behind you, and then bringing it back onto the ground, the tailbone back onto the ground. Going into windshield wipers right away. So you can separate the feet, bring your feet nice and wide, and that will create just a little more openness through the whole body and give yourself a little bit more of a twist. Arms are going to be up to a T position, and you can really spread out and just let the knees go from side to side there. You're rocking from one edge of the glute to the other, right side to left side, and you're trying to relax the tailbone and glutes as you're rocking here from side to side. As you're moving from side to side as well, think about your feet, just kind of releasing the tension from your feet, the soles of your feet. Think about your toes relaxing, heels. Breathing deep, of course. Try to think about breathing right down into the belly, especially when you feel those twists. You're exhaling out and you're twisting and you're breathing out the air, squeezing out the air. And then you are inhaling as you're transitioning to the other side. So exhaling, twisting, inhaling, and then exhaling to the other side. Back and forth. Okay, and then going back to center there and just slowing it all the way down. We're moving into Shavasana now. So go ahead and straighten out your legs. Get comfortable. You can prop yourself up with a bolster if you're used to doing that, or cover up with a blanket. Try to minimize the distractions that you may anticipate there might be around you for the next few moments, so that you can be completely still and you can just focus on you and your own breath and what your body's doing, what your breath is doing. So that is the goal for the next few moments, coming into stillness and union, breath into body at this point. We're starting with the breath. We're taking a deep breath in. Feel the lungs, feel the belly, and just breathing out. You can breathe out through the mouth. Listen to the sound of your breath. Watch it as it comes out, and try to really breathe out all the air. So completely empty the lungs, completely empty the belly before you take your next breath in. At this point, your eyes should be relaxed, or at least are closed. And you're trying to sink down through the shoulders. You're trying to sink those hips down and heels while taking these deep breaths in. As you are breathing out, think of every exhale that you are taking out, that you are breathing out, you are releasing something. So either muscular tension, mental stress that you have carrying through your day or from your week, you are letting it go and just watch it as you breathe it away. Breathing in space, breathing in clarity, exhaling out any negativity, any stress, any heaviness. Okay, further sinking down through those heels, calf muscles, backs of knees, thighs, and glutes. Entire right leg, entire left leg. Your low back, mid back, upper back, shoulders pulling down, relaxing shoulder blades, sinking into the floor. Rolling down both right arm and left arm. Relaxing the neck muscles, back of neck, so that your head is relaxed and rested and supported by your mat. Sides of neck. Moving up to the top of your head and forehead. And just feeling space across your forehead. Relaxing all the muscles around your eyes and eyelids, your cheekbones, around your jaw, your mouth, and completely relaxing the tongue in your mouth. Soften your throat, your chest, and your abdomen. Taking your time here, bringing your attention back to your breath. So think about breathing into your belly initially here, breathing into your hips. Take a deep breath in and exhaling and pulling down. And the next few breaths, think about breathing everywhere else in your upper back, your lower back. You feel your rib cage. Feeling yourself lift off the mat on your inhales, and then your exhales, feeling yourself kind of sink down. Notice your relaxed body breathing, and just notice how good that feels. Your body's relaxed, you're able to take in some really deep breaths in, exhale fully, and just enjoy this moment. Slowly reawakening and moving in all parts of your body, fingers, toes to start with, and progressing into your elbows, into your shoulders, maybe bending knees, maybe moving into windshield wipers again. Okay, rocking or rolling over onto your right side there and making your way up to seated. Feel free to continue on in your meditation practice, like I always say. Namaste, everybody. Thanks for joining me on this rainy Monday. Looks like the rest of the week is going to be amazing and more spring-like. So hopefully you'll join me on Wednesday for HIIT core yoga if you're into that. Otherwise, I'll see you next Monday and maybe for another gardening theme class, or I'll think of something by then. Yeah, let me know what you think. Leave your comments below and share this video if you like it. Yeah, that's all I got to say. So happy Monday, everybody. Have a great week, and I'll see you later. Bye.